people vaccinated as possible.
I'm happy that I have my second dose. That means I'll be a bit safer.
With more city-run clinics accepting walk-ins, the City of Toronto dubs its vaccine campaign the home stretch vaccine push.
I'm also relieved in that sense that we can actually have people sitting inside the restaurant.
It's the last weekend before Ontario's Step 3 reopening, which allows for indoor dining. We take a closer look at how the restaurant industry is preparing.
And we're just very excited to now greet them and really host a celebration for everybody's hard work.
A large fitness festival will be taking place at the Markham Fairgrounds tomorrow. We have a sneak peek.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Good evening, I'm Marivel Tarouk. The vaccination campaign isn't slowing down this weekend, with Toronto focusing its efforts on neighborhoods with the lowest vaccination rates. The city announced earlier this week that half of the adult population is now fully vaccinated. Jessica Ng has the details from one of the city's mass vaccination clinics.
I'm feeling great, and what I'm planning to do with this newfound freedom is to go visit my friends more, meet up together.
This civil engineering student got his second dose at the hangar at Downsview Park. He lives close by in a neighborhood where the percentage of fully vaccinated adults is below the city's average of 51%. It's one of several areas the City of Toronto has now designated as high priority as part of the homestretch vaccine push campaign ahead of Ontario's Step 3 reopening on Friday.
Happy that I have my second dose. That means I'll be a bit safer.
Everybody's excited, it's good to, things are going to be opening back up soon, so I'm feeling pretty happy.
Here at the hangar, as well as at 3 other mass vaccination clinics, you can now walk in without an appointment. 9,000 slots are available this weekend. And more than a dozen community clinics in the city's northwest are also part of the vaccine push. Community ambassadors are door knocking to combat vaccine hesitancy.
When we communicate with the people, we just tell them to don't scare, don't, the research, and you take the vaccine, we take the vaccine.
In Brampton, coordinators of a 40-hour initiative called Dusk Till Dawn are trying to get the message out to residents.
Now that everybody's eligible for their second dose and it accelerated 28 days, I think the population doesn't know that they're eligible.
Fighting
Our apologies for ending on that story a little bit too soon. We're moving on. Ontario moves into its next stage of reopening on Friday, and business owners are already gearing up. Moving into Step 3 means indoor dining will be allowed. But as our Dahlia Ashry shows us, the excitement is mixed with caution.
It's a beautiful sunny day outdoors, the perfect day to go out to the patio and enjoy a cold one. And soon, there will be the option to enjoy it indoors as well.
See friends, family, get out, and hopefully everything is back to normal.
Music and there's kind of people around as well. It's kind of nicer than just sitting in a park or sitting outside.
This community has really been supporting the small businesses, and the fact that they can expand and move people indoors is amazing.
Small businesses like this one on Rossesville are excited to have their customers back indoors.
Turning the TVs on, getting my regulars back in these booths, pouring some pints, and watching the game.
Christopher Murray is the owner of this sports pub. It hasn't been an easy year for him.
The word pivot was used so many times this year that I don't want to hear it again in 2022.
The damage that has been done to retailers on the street has been significant. Some haven't made it, and others had to take out loans. David Neinstein is with the local business improvement area.
Everyone's extremely excited for the most part. There's some trepidation. Some businesses are a little bit worried about having the ability to open up and then being told that there might be some pullback on those restrictions again. But I think for the most part, everyone has had enough time to understand how to deal with life under COVID.
Business owners in other parts of the city agree.
Biggest concern we still always wonder is this going to go back to another lockdown? And that's the struggle, as we're already short-staffed.
Jordan Rolota opened his business on Queen Street West last year. So far, diners have only been able to enjoy the patio.
We've still never had anyone dine inside, which is I can't believe we made it to this far, but I'm also relieved in that sense that we can actually have people sitting inside the restaurant.
The provincial mandate requires people to continue wearing masks indoors until at least September. But for many patrons and business owners alike, they say they're just looking forward to a sense of normalcy again and the option of being able to eat outdoors or indoors. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Fitness centers will also be allowed to operate indoors under Step 3. Gym owners and fitness enthusiasts are thrilled they'll finally be able to break a sweat inside. But for those who can't wait to get energized by a large group experience, an outdoor circus in Markham is transforming into a fitness festival tomorrow. Our Dale Manukduk got a sneak peek at what to expect.
Let's go. A Toronto boxing club is throwing a festival to unite the city's fitness community who have stood by them through the pandemic.
I was very excited to now greet them and really host a celebration for everybody's hard work.
So tomorrow 400 people are going to be watching a variety of high-intensity training, yoga, a little bit of boxing, and some dance instruction.
So we're going to have microphones, we're going to have a bunch of different demonstrators going around the pods as well as on stage to kind of demonstrate the action, demonstrate the dance, demonstrate the exercise.
So right now I am standing in one of the pods while the event is going on. It's 2 people per pod. There are 200 of them on this fairgrounds for a 400-person capacity. That is part of what makes this a COVID-19 approved venue.
We had public health involved and we had police and fire involved, and everyone kind of had eyes on it before we went live just to ensure that we were doing everything that we can to keep it safe.
The space is being used for Together Apart, an outdoor cirque event with the same distance setup. The Circus and Fitness Festival will continue running at the Markham Fairgrounds for at least the next couple of weeks. United Boxing Club owner Jordan Thomas is excited for tomorrow after his business was decimated by COVID closures.
We had a huge member base before COVID, around 700 members, and now we barely have any physical members at the gym. So, financially it's been a big hit.
The same goes for Bomb Fitness on the Danforth. They've lost over 70% of their membership and have had to close one of their 3 locations. The news that gyms and fitness centers would open earlier than expected brought mixed feelings.
We're excited. We couldn't be happier to be able to welcome people back into the gym, but it is going to be a grind for the next couple of days to be able to make that happen.
Owner Victoria Wickett says the challenge will be outfitting the gym for adults since they've just tailored it for children's programming. While she says many of the province's decisions regarding fitness centers were unfair, she believes the new restrictions are more than what was anticipated, and that's a win. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
This weekend, Waterloo Region is hoping to vaccinate 20,000 people at a Hockey Hub vaccination clinic. Officials in the region are encouraging people not to wait as the Delta variant continues to circulate in the community.
Delay your second dose. Full immunization is your best protection against COVID-19, including the Delta variant.
Officials say COVID-19 case numbers and hospitalizations have stabilized, allowing the region to enter Step 2 of the provincial reopening plan on Monday. And at this point, Waterloo Region is expected to move into Step 3 with the rest of the province on Friday. Pedestrian and vehicle traffic were closed off in downtown Toronto this afternoon after a portion of a service crane fell from a building onto the roof of a condo.
This crane collapsed, causing a bit of structural damage on the roof area, but no danger to any of the floors below, tenants or anything, and didn't get into any of the apartment units. So,
Toronto Fire says the counterbalance of a service crane fell about 20 feet onto the top of the condo. It happened at the Esplanade and Yonge Street. The building was evacuated while it was being inspected. There are no reports of injuries. The family of Jamel Francoise, a man killed by Peel Regional Police, gathered today to continue to call for justice.
How can we stand by Torontonians, white, black, green, grey, and let this happen to a black community of mothers? It's about time that there's some accountability.
Francique's mother stood beside community activist Winston LaRose while he called for justice and accountability. The 28-year-old died after being shot by police while in his vehicle in January 2020. Earlier this year, the SIU found there were no grounds to charge the officer involved. Today, demonstrators were at Bickford Park to honor the life of the 28-year-old father. In a press release, they said the event was to celebrate and fight for Black life. And an update from police in the death of a man in Mississauga yesterday. A 36-year-old man has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Peel police say the suspect and the victim knew each other. Police received a call at around 8:30 yesterday morning. Officers located a man on the roadway near Britannia Road and Terry Fox Way. He was suffering from obvious signs of trauma. Anyone with any further information is asked to contact police. Volunteers packed groceries and goods for Toronto families in need today.
We're delivering aid to families in need, and because all the volunteers are involved, from packing the food to packing the boxes, we're able to flatten costs, really drive them down, right? And then take all kinds of donated products, add them in, and we get the right aid to the right people at the right time.
It's a project organized by Global Medic called Feed the Six Kits. During the pandemic, they saw the need for food and other products increase. The packages include groceries with dry goods and staple foods, as well as hygiene kits. The packages go out to about 1,000 families each month. The Gardiner Expressway is closed this weekend for its annual maintenance. The full closure will run from the Don Valley Parkway at Carlaw to Highway 27 and the QEW. It will start tonight at 11 p.m. and last until Monday morning. Drivers should expect delays and plan their route well in advance to allow for extra time for travel. Lakeshore Boulevard West, the Queensway, Bloor Street and Evans Avenue can all be used as alternative routes during the closure. Well, a restricted fire zone that had been in effect for some areas of northwestern Ontario has been expanded. Starting today, the restricted fire zone boundaries are being expanded to these areas. The restrictions include a ban on outdoor campfires, fire pits, and other burning. There are about 60 forest fires burning in the region, with the wildfire hazard considered to be high to extreme. And Sophia is joining us with a look at the weather forecast and the conditions for those forest fires, Sophia, we talked about last weekend, and it looks like they're still in place.
And unfortunately, it's a blocking pattern that could continue over the coming days. It's going to mean an active pattern for us here in the south going forward, and unfortunately, that band could grow for those of you in the north over the next long-range forecast. Right now, though, picture-perfect day forecast-wise for many of you, especially cottage country and south, and enjoy it while you can, because what if I said what you've experienced today and for the first chunk of tomorrow will probably be the best you're going to see on paper for this next long-range forecast. Here's why. We've got high pressure above us, keeping things picture perfect and lovely. It moves over to our east and sandwiches an active boundary right above us for really the next week. It's going to mean a ton of rain, especially if you're in cottage country over the next week or so. A really unsettled pattern, and for the rest of us to the south, still a damper on the potential of a vacation week with the threat of thunderstorms almost every single day. Now, there will be sunny breaks. They may be few and far between depending on where you are. And this is Gulf moisture that will be pumped up above us for the long-range forecast, which we'll get into more in a few minutes. But I just want to show you a teaser of how humid it's going to feel. So temperatures will be seasonal, but it will feel into the mid-30s. Until then, enjoy a really nice brisk overnight period and a pretty decent first half of the day tomorrow with a nice east wind. Clouds move into the afternoon and then rain potentially into the evening. And it's a sign of things to come for the long range. Maribel.
Okay, we'll check on that in a few minutes. Thanks, Sophia. Multiple wildfires continue burning in British Columbia, including one near Vernon, where people today were forced to evacuate. It comes a day after some of the first victims of the fires got a look at what's left of their community. Katie Nicholson reports.
Orange flames race uphill and light up the sky just east of Vernon. Jean Flanagan took this video.
I woke up my daughter and son-in-law and we prepared to evacuate. We packed the cars. Once we've done that, we just sat on the deck and watched. The fire very quickly climbed up the hillside. Trees were kindling.
Flanagan among many nearby who had an anxious night.
And I could see people, I could see the their headlights bobbing up as they climbed up to a very steep terrain and approached the edge of the fire. Very brave people.
The Friday night fire prompted an evacuation order and forced people from their homes. It's under control now, and people are allowed to return home, but have to be prepared to bolt again at a moment's notice.
And there's an old saying, evil runs in straight lines, and fire does the same thing. It just swept through the town.
Gordon Murray knows all too well how quickly fire can destroy a community. The Lytton evacuee was on one of the bus tours yesterday, which allowed residents to see for the first time what was left of their village.
It was it was impossible to take it all in. And so people were just, they were trying to film, but they were crying or making just sounds of shock. It was like a symphony of loss. There were all of these sounds going on.
The Transportation Safety Board is now also in Lytton, getting a front row seat to this destruction after it says new evidence came to light. Following days of angry speculation, the fire was sparked by a train.
It really comes down to, first-person witness interviews that were conducted, or video recordings and/or physical evidence that was found on or near the railway tracks that suggests that a train may have played a role in starting a fire.
The TSB is zeroing in on trains that passed through Lytton on the day of the fire. It's currently examining one parked in Vancouver. On Friday, the transport minister said no trains are allowed to move through this area for 48 hours. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Spences Bridge, BC.
There were more signs today pointing to the possibility of a looming election call, this time in Western Canada. Both Erin O'Toole and Jagmeet Singh made appearances following the Prime Minister's BC and Alberta swing this week. CBC's Paige Parson reports.
Cowboy hats, the Midway, and politicians making appearances, all long-standing traditions at the Calgary Stampede. Federal Conservative leader Erin O'Toole made his way to a pancake breakfast.
I think Canadians need a government that's ready, that's going to fight for jobs in all parts of the country.
O'Toole isn't the only federal leader popping up in Western Canada. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is in British Columbia.
And once we get past it, we need to make sure we're recovering, and we've got a plan for recovery that focuses on workers and small business.
The appearances in British Columbia and Alberta come after stops in both provinces by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau earlier this week, announcing the feds had struck a deal with British Columbia for a $10 a day daycare plan and confirming federal funding for a major transit project in Calgary.
This fall, construction on Phase 1 of the LRT Green Line will begin in Calgary's Beltline and downtown.
Some see it as a sure sign that a federal election is on its way.
It's part of the cross-country tour. I mean, we are days, weeks away from an election call. Every signal is there.
Bratt says seeing the leaders getting into campaign mode early isn't a surprise, but that it's interesting to see how they're working around lingering concerns about COVID-19.
And I think it is notable that Justin Trudeau is not here during the stampede. I think there's concerns about the optics of that in the middle of still a pandemic.
COVID-19 on the campaign trail is something all parties may soon be navigating. Experts say they expect the election call to come shortly after Canada's new Governor-General, Mary Simon, is formally sworn in. Paige Parsons, CBC News, Edmonton.
Maybe a better matchup for Edie is here. Nice pass. And the dunk. Oh.
Canada's unbeaten streak was unfortunately broken today in the semifinals of the FIBA U19 World Cup against the USA. It comes after a matchup where both teams entered with an identical 5-0 record. Canada lost to the US 98-86. The tournament is for players 19 and under. Canada will, though, play France or Serbia for bronze tomorrow. Time for the long range now with Sophia. I feel like we're in the last few hours of sunshine and dryness.
Yeah, as soon as the show's over, go out and soak up all that vitamin D that you can because it will be few and far between this upcoming work week. But hey, it's not going to be a total washout. It is going to be the kind of week, though, where you want to check back with the forecast very often because things will change very quickly. Unsettled pattern, humid, and also potentially rainy, especially in cottage country, which isn't the news you wanted to hear if this is your slated vacation week. Here is the why. High pressure anchored off to our east. It sandwiches this active boundary right on top of us. Now, on paper, the temperatures seem great, right? 25, 26, 27, pretty much all week, but you add into the mixture a bunch of Gulf moisture. The plume of the red really comes up Tuesday and into Wednesday. That means that while temperatures will be sitting pretty at the 25, 26, 27 mark, it will be feeling 35, 36, 37, even close to 40 for really the majority of this upcoming work week, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. Now, all this extra humidity means an increased risk of thunderstorms for this long-range forecast pretty much all across the board, especially into the south of cottage country, south of that 401. You're seeing that risk for storms almost every day. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to see a storm every day. There will be some sunshine here and there, but like I said, you definitely want to check back often, especially if you're in the south and in the southwest. Now, the rain pushes in Sunday night into Monday. Monday is going to be a bit of a washout of a day for everybody right across the board. But then after that, the rain is really going to be centered around that active boundary, around the cottage country area, north of the 401, sort of north of Barrie for the real widespread rain. Everybody else will be sort of hit or miss. Until then, enjoy a really nice Sunday. And here is the little bit of the light at the end of a tunnel with a week with not much sunshine. Look at next Saturday. We'll have tons of it.
All right, a week today. Perfect. Thanks, Sophia.
Glass half full, always.
Exactly. Thank you.
Solo sé que donde quiera que yo vaya cantaré.
That's a taste of the 17th annual TD Salsa in Toronto festival that kicked off today. Of course, during pre-COVID times, it would have been a weekend full of salsa dancing on St. Clair, art and food. But again, this year, organizers held a virtual festival that still celebrates Latin culture while bringing virtual dance lessons into participants' homes. There are performances from nearly 100 artists, and the event will stream online again tomorrow at 1 p.m. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. And we're going to leave you with a little bit more music and dance from the virtual Salsa Festival. Here's some cumbia for you. Have a great evening, everyone.